I love the World Cup. I love everything about it. I love the fact that 48 teams are about to show up and play fucking 3,000 games, and we're going to be here for the entire thing, and it's going to be awesome. One team's going to win the entire thing, but almost every team is going to have its own magic moment. There's going to be fans who are, another face in the crowd that by the end of this tournament are going to be unbelievably famous because of one silly little thing or one giant thing that they did. There's going to be players that, their entire lives are changed for good and for bad, and people's, life experiences being formed across the entire world. Everything about it is cool. And it's already started because Tim Payne, Mania, has gripped the entire world. And I don't know if there's ever been a story quite like this, because this is, I would say the third social media World Cup, right? 2014, I don't know if there were enough people on, social media was pretty popular back then, but I don't know if there were enough people on social media for it to be like a full-blown, we're in a post-TikTok World Cup. This is only the second one that's ever happened, right? Where the modern media landscape is predominantly social media, it feels like at this point. And so an Argentinian influencer has made a video. It's this guy, El Scarzo. I'm not quite familiar with his work. Rep, it seems like an all right guy, and I love the video concept. He made a video. If you're wondering where all this, Tim Payne, if you've been seeing the name Tim Payne popping up, it was this. He made a video where he claimed to have looked through every single roster at the World Cup, every reasonable player. Basically looked at their Instagram following in an effort to identify the least followed player at the World Cup out of every player, right? Because all of the teams, or the vast majority of the teams, have been announced at this point. I think today or yesterday was the deadline or whatever, right? Out of all of the players at the World Cup, he found the one that had the fewest followers on Instagram. And the whole idea was this guy is going to the World Cup. He's been called up to the World Cup, and yet nobody really knows about it, right? He is the least significant person in terms of Instagram following that's going to the World Cup, so we should cheer for him because it's really cool to go to the World Cup. That is, in a nutshell, what this, the entire, the point, it's in Spanish, so I can't let him explain it to you because this is obviously an English YouTube video. The whole point of this video is that he has 4,715 Instagram followers. Now, Tim Payne is a guy that has been playing for a while. He's 32 years old. He's had a long, successful professional career. He spent 2 years on the payroll of Blackburn Rovers, where he wasn't able to really break through. Bounced back to Auckland City for a year, then bounced over to try and crack it in MLS, played for the Timbers reserve team. That didn't work out either. Spent some time with Eastern Suburbs, and then finally got a move up to Wellington Phoenix, where obviously his moves abroad didn't work, but he's found a really successful career at Wellington Phoenix, who play in the A-League. They're the New Zealand team that plays in the Australian League, which is kind of like MLS Light, right? It's a similarly structured league, no promotion, relegation, just a professional league that's going. And he's carved out a good 7-year career there, obviously as a regular player. And has been regularly featured in the New Zealand national team since he made that move to Blackburn Rovers in 2012. He has 50 caps, right? He is not somebody that's just called up to the national team for the first time or anything, but by his own admission, not somebody that really pays attention to social media, and a footballer that, even though he is going to the World Cup with an established position in the New Zealand national team, is not somebody that you would have any reason to know. He's just one of the other guys. Right, he doesn't have a cool, funny name. He doesn't play a notable position. He's kind of a more defensive inside-outside guy. And he had less than 5,000 followers on Instagram. He now has 4.1 million Instagram followers. His most recent post on Instagram a day ago, which said locked in, has been liked by 2 million people. His previous Instagram post, which was 2 words, Tim Payne, it was a collab post with the FIFA World Cup, had 2.4 million likes. This is a guy who had less than 5,000 Instagram followers. It was hard to do as a professional footballer here. He now has the following of half of New Zealand on Instagram alone. This whole thing has gone careening out of control for Tim Payne. Like it is, this is an article from this New Zealand publication about, you know, how Tim Payne has ended up in this position. And there's all sort of like interesting things. This was Tim Payne talking about it. I can't pause this video because welcome to Twitter.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, just one afternoon, just started getting a few random notifications, and then I looked on my Instagram and noticed that someone had tagged me in a video, and it was obviously in Spanish, and my Spanish isn't very great, so I passed it on to my missus, who is fluent in Spanish and was able to let me know what it was saying. And then I think by the time I woke it up the next morning, you know, there was hundreds of thousands of follows. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Probably, as everyone can tell, like I'm not massive on social media, so for that to happen is a bit strange for me. I think at the same time I'm trying to embrace it all. I think it's hard. I'm trying to process it all at the same time and have a bit of a laugh and a bit of banter with it. I think it's come from a cool place in terms of how positive it's been. So yeah. Probably this time last week, I was coming into camp, just trying to prepare for a World Cup, quietly coming into camp preparing for a World Cup. And now I've got millions of people from multiple countries, you know, following my Instagram and following, I guess, my journey and New Zealand football's journey as a whole. So, yeah, on the whole, I hope that, you know, we as a team and a nation can make all those people proud and have something for them to cheer.
Seems like a great guy. Seems like a great guy who genuinely has a good head on his shoulders. And the entire like flow around this has just been absolutely hilarious. There's a song. Nope. No Pain, No Gain is, I mean, it's a banger of a song. I don't know if it's going to get muted when I try to actually play it. But like they're making fan songs. And is Tim Payne actually said, and I think it's been a very important part of this, is it's all been positive. Because it was very easy to make this negative. Very easy to make I'm going to give the original creator a ton of credit too. Very easy to make this negative. Very easy to be like, oh, we're looking for the worst play. You know, like, it was framed as we're looking for the least notable player, the most unknown player, and we want to lift this guy up because going to the World Cup is sick. And then for Tim Payne to kind of pick up on that, right? And now he's posting, you know, he's posting very regularly. You know, clearly is picked up, and he's like, he always said a little banter with it, like he's having fun with it, and all of a sudden he's this, you know, really famous footballer that a lot of people are going to be watching at this World Cup just to see, you know, like when Tim Payne makes a tackle, everybody's going to be going absolutely fucking nuts. It's very heartwarming and very cool. I also want to give a shout out. Valen Scarsini's from Argentina and kind of the original. Now it's gone into all over the world. Like it has expanded beyond Valen Scarsini's orbit. But the original kind of push of this was from Argentina. And Argentina has had a lot of bad stories around its football and its national team in terms of the atmosphere and the vibe and, you know, various racism incidents and whatever. Right? And I just wanted to give them a shout out for Argentina. It was kind of the birthplace of this incredibly cool, wholesome, uplifting thing. So I credit where credit is due. The Argentinian football community was the first one that really went all in on this and was making the songs and rooting for Tim Payne. And now it's obviously expanded to me. It's expanded to people all over the place where they just know who Tim Payne is now, and they are going to be rooting for Tim Payne, and Tim Payne's just going to be his whole life has changed instantly. Like if you have 4 million real Instagram followers, which he does, you can get paid $10, $20, $30,000, $100,000 just for like a post. Like Tim Payne's whole life in terms of him being a footballer and what he's going to do after football and just his influence and him walking around, like it's completely changed forever. And it is one of the coolest incidents of social media being used in, I think, a super awesome positive way. Because one of the most surprising things to me about World Cups is the number of guys that go to those World Cups that you kind of wouldn't think of that end up there and like they're kind of hidden, they're obscure. Maybe they don't ever get on the field, they don't have a chance to play. But they are on a World Cup roster, which is something that 99.9% of us that love the game and follow the game couldn't even imagine being able to be a part of something that cool. So for the guy that literally has the fewest Instagram followers of any player that makes a World Cup roster to be the guy that gets shouted out like this, and gets the highlight and in some ways the energy and the happiness and the attention that he deserves for being able to achieve such a great thing. It's just cool. So if you're wondering what the Tim Payne story was, it is like it's a feel good story. It'll make you happy. And hope Tim Payne's able to do something. And good luck to the boys. Kia kaha. My second team. See if they can do literally anything. I'm rooting for them. I watched every game the last time they were there, and they didn't lose.